super inspiring to be a musician and to have music in my life. And if I didn't have it in my life, I wouldn't be living a good life.
Well, thanks, Adam. Thanks for joining me for these 3 questions. This is Adam Page. Amazing saxophone player and composer, multi-instrumentalist, does an amazing solo show, got a great record label, Wizard Tone Records. I don't know, what else do you do? Beard grower.
Look at this thing.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me.
Man, I'm so stoked.
So we'll just get into the first question, which is why do you have music in your life?
Oh man, how long have we got?
Well, as long as you want to take.
Yeah, look, it's just so important to me. It's like, for me, I think mostly it's that sense of community, right? That immediate community that's created no matter where you are in the world. And that's just so important to me because, sometimes we forget that we're social beings, and especially in the time of COVID-19, we're reminded of this, but music just reminds me of this every time I play as well. It's just like, man, I'm a part of this incredibly rich tapestry of artists, and every single person within that tapestry is like an important part of it. And and it's just super inspiring to be a musician and to have music in my life. And I don't know, I just feel like if I didn't have it in my life, I wouldn't be living a good life. And we as musicians are so lucky that we can actually create music, okay? And we can enjoy music and listen to music. We're so lucky. But then, those of us that aren't musicians are so lucky because they've got music in their life as well. Like everyone's just got music in their lives. Man, we're going deep real early, aren't we?
That's good. That's good. We can go deeper.
Okay, yeah, good. Oh, we will. But you know what I mean? Like everyone, I don't care who you are, you need music. You've got something, even if it's one song or, everyone has music in their lives. And if they don't have it in their lives, it's not an enriched life.
Yeah, it does surprise me when people say, yeah, no, I'm not into music, or I don't listen to music.
They probably do. They probably do, yeah, and they may not be aware that music is such a big part of their lives. If you took it away, they'd be like, man, something feels weird. It's like when you're in a cafe and they forgot to, press play, and it just feels weird, right? And so I think people ignore the fact that music is such a big part of their life, and they're only reminded when they're in a cafe and the music's not on,
Yeah. What do you think? Why do you think it's important?
Community. Also, I was thinking about this today actually before the interview, and last week I was at a school. Because another thing that I do with my music is I do a lot of school shows and workshops. And every now and then, I do a couple of years where I'm at a school for a week. Okay, so
right.
I get to really connect with the students and with the teachers, and it's fantastic. And I've just finished one of those weeks, and it was amazing because it was the first real kind of creative thing I've done with other people since lockdown, and it was just so enriching for me. And everyone had a really, really great time. And I stole your vibe a little bit, on the first session. I said to the group, why music? Why do you have music in your life? And it was really, really interesting, the answers that they gave me, because, it wasn't interesting for me, but it was interesting for them, because they were kind of like, I don't know. I'm like, look deep within yourself. Why music? And it was incredible. You know, people were saying stress release, and these are like year 8s and 9s. You know, stress release, creative outlet. You know, fun. You know, jamming with people, and it was really reassuring, and it was just like, yeah, this is great. And then this kid put his hand up and said, what's your cultural background? You know, this was a Vietnamese boy, and I was just stumped because I don't know. I know I've got some Scottish heritage, and I know that. Well, that's it. I know I've got a Scottish heritage somewhere, but I'm not going to pick up the bagpipes. But
please no.
Yeah, please no. But it's something that I've been grappling with for a while. You know, since living in New Zealand as well for a few years. The connection to culture, both the Māori and Pākehā, which is white people have with Māori culture, is intense. It's amazing. It's like it's so far away from what we have here in Australia, and so for me, music is it's a part of my cultural background. Like I'm kind of starting again, I'm
starting your own.
Yeah, exactly, and it's that important to me. It's as important as like a cultural DNA stamp, and for me it's all of those things that the kids were saying about stress release. It's fun, it's a creative outlet, it's relaxing, it's challenging. It's everything.
Yeah. Well,
and it's all of the bad things as well. It can be really annoying, and it can be
stressful and annoying and
difficult. Everything. It's absolutely everything. So, I can't think of many things in life that actually contain like pretty much all of the important things about life, including the bad stuff, Yeah. So it's, to me, if I didn't have music, I don't know. I can't imagine myself without music. I actually can't. I think music found me, and it would have happened anyway.
Yeah.
And I one of my massive idols is a guy called Mike Patton. The singer from Faith No More and Phantom. He's awesome. Everything he touches turns to gold, man. I love Mike Patton, and saw this interview with him where they asked the same question, like why music, and he said, well, if I didn't have music, I'd probably be on top of the building somewhere with a sniper rifle. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. Well, maybe a slingshot or something. Yeah.
Maybe a slingshot. Yeah. No, but like so for so many people, it for him obviously it centers his aggression, and I mean you hear aggression in his music, like deep aggression. It's
Well, especially when I think during teenage years, I mean, music definitely helped me kind of just channel all that energy and that sort of aggression, anger, all those sort of teenage feelings. Even though I had a great life, but you're just angry anyway.
It's hormones.
And it just channeled it into something which was sort of like listening back to it wasn't that positive, but it channeled into a sort of a positive thing rather than breaking into cars or
totally
all those other things we could have got into.
And that's the thing. Like you've just got to look around at every teenager. Like they've all got their earbuds in. They're listening to something. They're listening to something. They're probably not listening to podcasts. They're listening to something, and they're hooking in. And it's doing something to them. It's helping them. And looking back on my own teenage years, music saved me. It was. I grew up in Mount Gambier in the southeast, and there wasn't really much to do in a country town, but music was there, and music was always there for me, and I was there for it, and it's just always been that thing that keeps me going. It's my super fuel, it's my chia seeds.
Yeah, well. Awesome. You need an endorsement.
Totally. Oh, music is my goji berry.
Yes, excellent. Well, I guess we'll get that will lead us nicely into the second question, which is how do you make music?
All the different ways. I try and hear music in everything, and that's a good skill to have when you've got a 3-year-old daughter as well. To just be like, oh wow, listen to that bus. It sounds like a lion, you know, and then it's just like, and then hearing the pitch of that, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I really, you know, and I love kind of thinking about music, you know, and like with the rhythms around me, and you know, just in someone's name, you know, all this sort of stuff. But that's I guess how the music comes in. But then how does the music come out? I do a multi-instrumental looping show, as you mentioned in that very lovely, inflating introduction, and that's me with a bunch of instruments and looping pedals. So I get to, like, you know, record myself live and then record over the top of that, and it's all improvised, all kind of off the cuff. It completely depends on how I'm feeling, how the audience is feeling. Sometimes, you know, I walk into a scenario on stage where the audience is just a bit flat, and you know, I've got to bring them with me. And
how have you gone doing the solo shows to no audience?
Oh man, it's actually been awesome.
They're not wrecking your vibe.
Well, I'd rather no audience and be able to have complete freedom as to where I go and not have to worry about, you know, what they think of my music at that point in time, than an audience that may not be appreciating what I'm doing, you know, and may not be connected, and sometimes that can be really difficult. So for me, doing these like online streaming shows, man, it's been beautiful. Because I'm just hooking in with myself and hoping that the people on the other end are into it as well. So so that's one way I create my music, and that's super fun for me, because I'm always sort of I'm always the clown, and I get to clown around with the looping pedals as well. And
it's a lot of fun
as well as, I have a bunch of fun, you know, and but I'm always making music. Okay, it might be sort of tomfoolery in the foreground, but in the background, I'm constantly thinking about how everything I'm doing makes sense with this music that I'm creating, and that's a real challenge. But I've done, you know, literally thousands of gigs now in that kind of scenario, that it's really natural for me to go with the flow. I feel like I'm really lucky, because I don't really know anyone else that's doing what I do. There's a bunch of, there's so many looping artists out there, and there's looping instrumentalists, but the hard out improvised multi-instrumental thing that I'm doing, I haven't found anyone else in the world, really.
Yeah, no, I've never seen anyone, and especially like the quality that you do, and because it's super entertaining. You know, as you said, you clown around, but there is such a level of, I guess, sophistication and craft behind it, which just makes it even better, because everyone can enjoy it. Like if you're going there as a musician that just wants to critique hardcore, you know, there's enough in it for you to be able to do that and go, oh my God, that was amazing. And if you're just there just to have a laugh, that, you know, that you also cater to that. So they are amazing shows.
Oh, cheers, man. Cheers. Well, for me, the audience is at the center of it, because I'm improvising. You know, if I had tunes that I'd played, you know, 500 times that people knew, I'd already knew that I had a connection with the audience. That's why people come to see artists, because you know their music, okay? But for me, every single show is different. So, and a lot of the times, every single audience is different. Like I'm constantly playing to audiences that don't know me, and so that's a challenge in itself. So I need to connect with that audience be it musicians that are there to critique, or be it your average Joe that's there to have a glass of wine. And so for me, I've got to somehow find that middle ground between sophisticated music and entertainment. Because sometimes it can be really sophisticated music and people really can't connect with it because it's quite personal music. And yes, the artist might be, having, the time of their lives connecting on stage, and that is fantastic. But, then you lose a whole lot of people, which is awesome because I also play some really challenging music, and I really like it when people walk out. I really enjoy it when people walk out because
at least they've felt something.
They felt something. It means I'm doing my job, right? It's like I can't remember what composer it was, but there's this quote of if it's for everybody, it's not. If art is for everybody, it's not art. And that for me is so freeing. Okay, and so for that solo multi-instrumental thing, I think that is a big part of it for me as well. Is like, maybe people have walked out of my show, but I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to connect, and if it doesn't connect, then that's cool. I'd prefer you to leave, actually.
Yeah, because you're going to ruin my vibe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that's one way I make music. At the moment, I'm writing a lot. I'm writing a saxophone concerto for an orchestra that might play it one day, but this is on my own back. And for me, I've been doing a bunch of orchestral work recently, both as a composer and kind of I can't believe this, but as a conductor as well. And I just want to build my repertoire. So I've got I'm writing at the moment, and I just want to give some props to Ross Irwin. Known Ross for years now, and we've done a lot of stuff together. And one of the three questions, is obviously with Ross, and he said that you got to write with manuscript paper. You can't write just on Sibelius or just on Finale, and I totally agree. Okay, so I've got here's
you've got proof.
Well, here's some of the, there's a little bit of a cadenza type thing, in this concerto. Here's the main mode here that I'm using, which is the Messiaen third mode, which is incredible. So I'm only using those notes in the entire composition, right? And it's a super dark mode as well. But within it, there's some really beautiful sort of structures and textures in there. And so, so that's a huge part of my music making as well, and especially in the orchestral world. I've got a couple of commissions coming up with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra, a couple more, so they keep asking me back, which is crazy.
Why they keep doing that?
No, but yeah, I feel really lucky to be kind of skating this kind of really kind of blurry line between jazz and classical music, and
but I don't think it's not the styles, it's you.
Exactly. And when I think about my own music on a looping sense, it's quite orchestral, the way that it's built and the way that I'm using different textures with the different instruments. And when I'm writing at the studio, I've got my looping pedal there, and I'll just improvise some stuff on keyboard or maybe play a bit of bass or whatever. And then I'll just sit back and listen to it and just be like, all right, cool. So that will work as pizzicato strings. So I'll make some notes and so a lot of it comes from improvisation because, let's face it, composition is just really slow and measured improvisation, right?
Yeah.
That you're writing down. Like you're hoping to write melodies that have never occurred before. That's the big hope of a composer too. And in the same way as we do as improvisers, we're trying to create these lines off the cuff that, yes, we're tipping our hat to tradition, but we're trying, the best improvisers are making music that's never been heard before and never will. So So as an improviser, it has informed my composition, like in every way, every way. Yeah.
And does it go the other way? Since, composing more, has it informed you? Yeah.
Totally. I just have, I think I'm playing less with the pedals. I think I'm more aware of when I'm layering too much, because when you're writing for an orchestra, it's so easy just to go like and throw everything at it.
Well, you've got so many choices. Yeah.
You've got so many choices, and yeah, my first orchestrations was too thick, and I got them to the first rehearsal, and it's just like, oh damn, that's just not working for me. And so like when I think about writing for an orchestra, like if I think about writing for those 80 odd people, then it's completely debilitating. But if I think about writing for essentially 4 sections, so there's the strings, there's the woodwinds, there's the brass, and there's the percussion. Okay, so I don't need to have all of them playing at once. I can just feature this section and then let's add some horns, and so it's again like like an artist with a blank canvas and just brush strokes. Okay, and so that took me a while to figure that out, and it took me a while also to figure out that Sibelius is horrible in terms of the playback. And again, as Ross said, and I just have to look at it mathematically. Sibelius might be playing it back to me and it's beautiful, but if you look at the score, it's just like, oh man, there's like 2 people playing this melody, and then I've got like potentially 40 other people playing the rhythm and the counter melody. So it's like, for me, having that insight has definitely informed my improvising with the pedals, and improvising as a saxophonist as well. The compositions help that immensely. Definitely.
Well, the third question is what excites you musically right now?
Right now.
This very second.
I discovered an ensemble from New York called the Wet Ink Ensemble, and I like to feel uncomfortable when I listen to music. I like to question music. I like to question my own tastes. I like to question what is music, and how do you define music? And I've for years I've been trying to find the most bizarre music I can find, and I think I've found it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. It is beautiful. It's like, oh man, I don't know. It is absolutely music I've never heard before, and I love it. So the album, so the Wet Ink Ensemble, and it's
is that Wet Ink?
Yeah, Wet Ink. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And the album, it's like glossolalia, I think it is, which is a word for basically speaking in tongues. I think it's the Latin word for speaking in tongues, perhaps. And it's amazing. Like, it is so confronting, and like the first track on that album is just so wacky. And I remember going for a walk, a couple of weeks ago when I first got it, and I had it, on my headphones, and I was just laughing because it was so weird, and I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. So check out Wet Ink Ensemble. It's just, it's something else. And I was so excited about it because this is all basically, from the pen of this composer that is as passionate about playing this music and creating this music as I was to discover it, and I felt a really deep connection with the composer when I heard it for the first time. Right. Like I felt like he was writing it for me, and I must contact him because it's totally changed my outlook on music, and I love that, because I'm totally, I'm totally inspired by Sun Ra and the Sun Ra Orchestra because for that very reason, it's music that they made for themselves that only a very, very select few enjoy. And I'm not doing that to be cool. I'm not enjoying it to just to say that I like weird stuff. Like, I actually legitimately love really weird music, and it's totally different to the music I make, like completely different. But I think, I think it's kind of like putting ginger in a smoothie for me. Like, the smoothie is my life as a composer and as a musician, okay? And then you put in ginger and it just takes over, but you can still taste all the other flavors, and it's the flavor that lingers the most at the end, So for me, that music, whilst it won't probably make its way into my composition, it's just going to be there lingering in the background. And maybe I will write something like this one day, but I don't think I can. I don't think anyone can. I think this is a moment in time and a moment in recorded history that, should be cherished because it's so weird.
I've got to check it out. I will check it out. You've got me very intrigued.
Totally. And then I want to, again, give props to one of your other guests on this question thing, and that's Troy Roberts. His new album is phenomenal. Like, mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And I play a lot of weird stuff to my partner Georgia, and and some of the really weird stuff as well, and so I always ask her when it's just not crazy music, it's like, do you like this? And so I put on Troy's record, and I said, do you like this music? And she said, yeah, it sounds like it's saying something. And she's not a musician, but she knows when music connects, and that album is just such an incredibly connecting album, both, with the process of him playing with himself. Like, man, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I love that. And then I just got this the other day. I don't know if you can see that. It's a new Joshua Redman album with Brooklyn Rider, who are a New York string quartet, and it's called Sun on Sand, composed and arranged by Patrick Zimmerli. Fantastic record. Yeah, really cool. So that's the three things I'm into at the moment, and
awesome. It
very
sounds
different.
Very, very different. Awesome. Thanks, man. Well, it's always a pleasure talking with you. You're always so inspiring and enthusiastic. So I love it. So I'm glad.
Well, and I apologise if we've hit the half an hour mark, because I feel like I've been talking for a very long time.
That is totally fine.
But I got to say, Mace, that I want to thank you as well for doing this and for connecting us. Like I said at the beginning of the interview, all those minutes ago, community is so important to me, and I feel like with these, Q&As that you're doing, it's connecting me to this wonderful community here in Australia. I think we've got something really unique in Australia. And I think we've got a really unique outlook on music. And I think we're all kind of coming from the same place with our music making. And that's a purely Australian thing, Each state has their sound, but you're bringing us together here. I think that's a really great thing you're doing. And I want you to keep doing it. Hey, once we go back to some kind of normal, which I don't want it to. I want it to be totally different. But anyway, that's another interview.
That's another one.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. Totally. Thanks heaps. I think you're doing an excellent thing for our community, connecting us all.
Oh, cheers. Yeah. No, it's been really lovely to talk in depth about music as well, because often we catch up and musicians like to talk a lot of crap as well, and just
totally.
But it's really nice to actually sort of focus in and sort of hear everyone's perspective. So thank you very much. And
man, you're a legend.
Take care. Oh, you are.
No, you
take care. I know you. Take care.
Cheers, brother. Peace.
See you, man.